Hello everyone, Phoenix61 here. How goes it, YouTube? Right, so I have a couple of games here to highlight with what I like to call the laser beam cruisers, right? The rail guns, right? So, the Alaska, and then we'll follow up with a Stalingrad game. And so I'm speeding up some of the video here just until we get into the fight, right? And yeah, these are two of my favorite cruisers up at legendary tier. Probably some of my favorites, right? Just because you got these really great guns with really great range, and aiming works really well. So we will take our first salvo at a fellow Alaska out there, and then we are going to turn in because that's going to get us spotted. And we can see bullets coming from the Montana and or Alaska here very shortly, right? Alaska's still giving us a little bit of angle here, so I'm going to take advantage of that and give another salvo to him. But you see we got almost 10,000 out of him the first time around, right? And then we're angling a little bit better than he is, right? So he's not doing quite as much damage to us as we are to him. And that is when Shimakaze over here gets spotted by our allied destroyer. So I'm going to trip the sonar right away just in case he had sent torpedoes through the zone, right? Depending on where he was previously. And then I'm guessing he's slowing down because he's dropping smoke. But either way, I'm going to give it just a few seconds here before I trip my radar. That's going to help me get my guns on target and maybe get that rear turret to pop around the corner as well. And then, of course, I'm going to anticipate him potentially sending torpedoes our direction as well. So we do have to keep that in mind with our movements. But we'll continue to hyper focus on him. That is our job as a radar cruiser, to pick up these destroyers, right? Like, pick them up, at minimum pick them up so that your teammates know where they are, right? And then since we have sonar going, we've got ample time to dodge all 15 of his torpedoes that he sent towards us here. So we will try and reverse thread the needle here, so to speak. And then he does make a mistake here. I would say if I was him, I would not have fired my guns. I didn't quite do it right, so we took one torpedo in the side there. Not too bad, right? But since he's firing his... And then, yeah, we take a bad salvo from the Montana, right? So we got caught up in a crossfire trying to dodge those torpedoes. But, yeah, so... if, you know, as a Shimakaze, you really don't want to use your guns very much, right? They're kind of a last-ditch effort, kind of like finish somebody off, or if you have no other choice, right? But, like, he could have probably remained unspotted and by not firing his guns and like gotten away and you know, been able to launch torpedoes for the entirety of the game, right? But he fired his guns, so that gives away his position, right, for easier and longer and further away. So we take advantage of that, and he is done for, right? So that is huge for us. Getting rid of destroyers early on in the game can be massive as far as momentum for your team. And then here I am in like between a rock and a hard place again. I've got the Alaska, which can definitely wreck us, off to my port side. There comes bullets from him. And then this Montana in front of us, right? So we'll bow into the Montana as best we can here. But in all honesty, like, I did not have a lot of faith in this game at this point. I was like, all right, let's do what we can here. We helped finish off the destroyer. That'll hopefully help set up our team for success. But we managed to get some good hits on the Montana here. The D zone is capped, right, by our destroyer that did the right thing and went and capped the zone and spotted ships for us. And then I'm going to see if I can get a cheap shot in between this little hole here. We have the Montana, but nope, he goes unspotted. So then I notice that the D zone's getting capped. Yeah, we'll try and sneak it in there. I think we get one bullet on him. Yeah. D zone's getting capped, and I kind of figured this Montana might be moving around the corner. So I'm like, all right, let's see if we can go in, see what kind of damage we can do on this Alaska. And then, of course, that's when he radars. So now he has a heads up on our position. But it looks like he's angling out. And then we also get the Montana spotted by our destroyer, so we know what he's doing as well. So we can push out here fairly safely, right? Like, as long as we're going to try to get angled in as best we can, right? But yeah, now that Montana doesn't have a shot on us, we get a heal back, so we'll use that. And then we'll go after this Alaska. Now, like, my original plan here was like, all right, like, we're not doing so great. Let's see if we can ram this Alaska and get him off the board, right? That'd be a fairly fair trade, right? He's got quite a bit more health than me. I'd be able to kill him. and it would give us a kill for the game, right? Like, but he comes in and starts turning away, and so we're gonna be able to get a decent shot right through the cheek here. And then he keeps turning away. I'm like, all right, fine with me. And then somebody else whaps him really good as well. And then we're able to finish him off there. And then the Montanas, you know, we're not spotted anymore here. And I think the Montana is focused on somebody else. And so we've got a great angle on him as well now. So we will take advantage of that. Yeah, oh no, he does take a shot at us. So yeah, I just tried to, like, it was a bad shot by him, but I also made sure we were turning correctly so that we were angled appropriately, right? So that we would try and minimize any damage that came from there. And then we get 2 penetrations along with the Citadel. And yep. And then we don't do quite, with more bullets, we do less damage that time around. See if we can get our last salvo off before he dies, but it looks like he's gonna eat it from the torpedoes, right? So then it's like, all right, let's do the right thing, right? So as a cruiser or destroyer, like really anyone with like that has decent speed and you're low on health, I like to kind of do my duty, right, and go and cap zones, right? Like be valuable where you can. If I don't have a lot of health, sometimes I'll just focus on playing objectives and get zones, especially if I can remain undetected. So we'll go and get the B cap, and then I was kind of expecting I think it's a Michelangelo, yeah, that was up over in the A cap now on the minimap. I was expecting him to show up and try and defend this area, so that's why I keep looking over there at the A cap. But I fast forward here because not too much happens as we get this zone cap, and so I kind of figured the action is starting to happen down here by zone C, so I'm going to start heading in that direction. We do have one more radar left. There are 2 cruisers, 2 destroyers, right? 4 on 4. Like, this is a pretty fairly competitive game still at this point. And then we can see that Zone C is getting capped, and I know my radar is 9 kilometer range, and I can see my spotting circle is 11 kilometer. So I can kind of wait till most of my spotting circle is, you know, most of Zone C was within that spotting circle, and then I'm tripping the radar when I notice that. And sure enough, we pick up just about everybody minus 1 destroyer on the team. So I'm trying to at least get in here and get these defends, right? So trying to keep the zone in our hands. I'd like to be able to shoot that destroyer that's way out there. I just think my bullets are going to be better utilized than, yeah, our Z46 finishes him off there. But yeah, Michelangelo is nice and broadside to us, so we get the devastating strike on him. I love me some AP shells from Alaska here. Good times every time, pretty much. Broadside cruisers, right, and a lot of battleships as well. You can get some pretty big, nasty hits on them. So that puts us up over the 100,000 damage mark at 127. And then this Venezia, I'm thinking he's like gonna try and be a little bit smarter than Michelangelo here, right? But he kind of has to come in somewhat angled, right? Like he can't, you know, he's coming in the way he's coming in, right? So we'll take advantage of this. He does have torpedoes. That's going to be our downfall here, right? But yeah, this game went from like, all right, and then, you know, he's turning in. He's playing real smart, right? So I aimed high to see if we could get a little bit more damage, say superstructure, what have you. And then here we're going to get at least 1 more salvo off, but he's going to turn out for us just enough to try and get his torpedoes off on us, right? But bullets are faster than torpedoes, right? Most of the time. So we'll take a shot through the cheek there on him. Get another 5 penetrations, 2 citadels there, but yeah, he's going to finish us off with torpedoes. So that would have been really great to get like 1 more of those bullets be a citadel hit and probably would have killed him, right? We would have survived and been able to help with the rest of the game. But I'll fast forward through here, right? So Michelangelo manages to finish off their last destroyer and then survives his torpedo barrage. That Venezia goes up and caps Zone B, but it's not going to be enough, right? Like, we were already up significantly on points. So, you know, Michelangelo's going to do the right thing, head back towards C, take that zone back so that we don't have an issue with points. And that Yamato that was in the background back there, I know he was probably dealing with the destroyer, but he had like tons of health. So I was kind of, at the end of the game, I was kind of frustrated that he had so much health and probably could have helped with like that Michelangelo and Venezia that killed me, right? Like, but he was, you know, sitting in the background. But anyway, we end this game with 160,000 in damage, and we'll take a look at the leaderboard and the build really quickly. And then I've got a Stalingrad game queued up as well. So similar style ship, legendary tier. This would be the Soviet variant, I guess. I do feel like the Stalingrad's just a little bit better. At least my opinion there. But yeah, we topped the leaderboard pretty easily there with the Alaska, 3,300 XP, bring home some silver, right? Nailed it. 160k damage. And then, yeah, for, I've got aiming system mod here. I don't really think there's any other way to go there. Propulsion mod, concealment, and then dispersion and range. I wouldn't argue with you if you went reload for some of those too. Main battery shell grouping, right? We're using Norman Scott, free-to-play commander, right? And same with inspirations, right? AP shell damage and pen multiplier. AP more range. I almost never pick this torpedo acquisition range. That's, detecting torpedoes, because you've got a cruiser that's got sonar. Use your sonar correctly, right? Punch through for more AP shell power, right? Incoming fire dispersion, like I'm all about, I wouldn't blame you for picking this one, but yeah. And then fixated for better shell grouping and range, and then of course I'm almost always picking fully packed for my cruisers. There's a few rare exceptions out there, but most of the time I like fully packed. I like having the extra consumables, right? What have you, radar, sonar, heals, right? Trying to see if we could get a shot on that fellow Stalingrad across the map, but he was we weren't going to be able to have the right angle. Minotaur shows up here, and we do have an angle on him, so we'll take the shot there. And then, yeah, we can just tell that because we were spotted, right? Like I knew there was at least one destroyer here, so I did trip the radar. We don't get sonar with Stalingrad, right? So it's a good thing we started turning out, because we're going to take a couple of hits here that are going to hurt. We'll damage con the floods, obviously. And Minotaur doesn't quite turn out in time, so we get the devastating strike on him. And then this is another situation where we're going to do our duty, right? We've got 2 destroyers here by Zone C, so I'm going to switch to HE shells, because typically you have a little bit better luck there against destroyers. And then we're going to turn back around and head right for the zone, for the C hole here, right? And see if we can't pick them up, right? So we don't have sonar, which is unfortunate. So what we're going to do, you'll see us do this here, is we're going to kind of try and be a little bit unpredictable with our course, right? Don't just sail in a straight line. Let's do a little bit of zigzagging. So once we get pointed towards the zone, we can see that at least one of them is in the zone because it's getting captured, right? So we'll head towards it, and then there's a bunch of torpedoes off to our left over there, so we know somebody just sent their volley that direction. But yeah, what we'll do is we'll kind of zigzag a little bit here and there, and then hopefully by the time we get close enough to the zone, we'll have our radar ready to go, and we can pick on these guys again, right? So we've got Holland, Shimakaze, what was it, another German destroyer still out here, who's over in Zone A, which somebody just took out. Yeah, it was a Z-46. So now the last 2 remaining destroyers are here. This Shimakaze makes a huge mistake getting picked up, right? Just not paying enough attention to the mini-map and where ships were. So we won't even have to use radar for him, and everybody was smart and went after the destroyer. Good job. Minotaur's far out. I'm going to keep HE loaded for when our radar is ready so that we can pick up this other destroyer. We know he's probably what is spotting us right now, wherever he may be. And then, yeah, we turned in again, changed our course a little bit because we knew those destroyers were there. And then here it is. The Holland gets picked up by the same battleship that picked up the Shimakaze. So I'm not sure what his thoughts were there. But yeah, I had loaded AP, not thinking we wouldn't get a shot on him, right? And I was like, maybe we'll be able to pick up that Minotaur again. That's like further out. So we'll yeah, then, oh yeah, it was the Stalingrad. I was like, oh, he's coming in broadside, we'll be able to shoot him, right? So we'll take this last shot at this Minotaur, see if we can get that. And then we're going to head in the direction towards the destroyer, right? We're going to do our duty, We are a radar cruiser. We've got an opportunity here to push into the destroyer. He is all alone out here. Take advantage of that. We're not even going to need it. He must be within his general spotting range. So we'll take advantage. Shoot our guns. We'll save the radar in case he does go undetected, but we land 7 hits there. And then yeah, we're taking shots from, I think, probably the Minotaur, right? So he's not hitting us too bad, right? Those are tough to get hits with that range, so not too bad there. I think maybe somebody racks us. One of the battleships probably hits us pretty bad here because we are kind of angled poorly for that cross the map shot. And then we know Holland, he's turning here. The only explanation for that is he's getting ready to send torpedoes, right? So I'm going to turn and point towards him to try and make it a little bit easier to dodge. But yeah, otherwise, I would just totally guess that he's going to, he would keep himself pointed directly away to try and get out of spotting range. But I'm going to guess he's got torpedoes on the way. So we'll just have to give it a second here. Yep, there they are. I almost thought he was going to shoot them towards our further left of us, so I was kind of planning to go out wider, but it's a good thing we had enough time to spot those. So switch back to AP, hoping to catch one of these cruisers here that are out here broadside. But yeah, we got 2 kills already, 80,000 damage. We've sort of conquered the map on our flank, right? Got rid of 2 destroyers that were over here. Or at least helped with, right? I know that Shimikaze we were able to shoot but didn't get the kill for. So our first kill was that, that Minotaur. So this Ohio is nice and angled for us, but we did lose a couple of rounds to the mountains there. And then I was like, all right, I think I need to get a little bit closer, but I was planning on being able to pick up this Minotaur with the radar. But yeah, we get another shot at the Ohio out there. And then I'm going to give it a little bit of time for the reload to happen here, and then we can trigger our, yeah, that's a good salvo there. Give it a little bit more time so we're closer to being loaded, and then we'll trip the radar to pick up this Minotaur. And I think somebody else had the exact same plan as me. So there's trip right at the same time too. And then yeah, I think we took a bad hit from that Ohio across the map, who was probably like, hey, who's shooting me? I'll shoot you back. But that gives us kill number 3, and we're up to over the 100,000 damage mark again. Then I think so I'm going to push in here, right? It makes sense. We're up, we've got the ship counts. We've got the zones, we've got the points. You might as well go full on aggressive here at this point. So yeah, wasn't going to be able to shoot the Ohio anymore, but then this Montana gets spotted, so we'll be able to pick on him, especially if he's going to sail broadside to us, right? Then I was looking at this Ohio and I thought maybe, so I slowed down here thinking maybe he'd keep pushing forward, but he doesn't. But that's why I slowed down here, kind of hoping I'd be able to get some shots off on him. And yeah, we do decent with 1 shell on the Montana out there. Yeah, I think our destroyer is just chilling right on the corner of the zone just to keep it contested. And then that Montana, that Ohio, I thought for sure he'd keep coming, and he doesn't, right? So he's moving backwards. So we won't be able to get a shot off on him, so let's go forward. And Montana gets spotted again. Decent angle here, so we will take that. Yeah, 3 hits, decent amount of damage, but we'll get high caliber there though. And fellow Stalingrad has given us a decent angle, and then somebody else finishes him off. Classic. And then I was just curious, if my shot was going to be good, so I looked back over there. It would look decent, right? He would have moved forward a little bit more by the time those bullets got there, but... And then yeah, as we're just doing appropriate angling here, in this Montana shouldn't be able to do too much to us at that range. We keep plunking him on the top of the head for some decent amounts of damage here too. And then yeah, it's just this Montana and the Ohio left. So I'm going to keep pushing in, if I die, it's not going to be a big deal, but I'm going to see what we can do here, right? So was kind of hoping to be able to sneak around the corner because I was fully expecting this Ohio to be kind of paying attention to somebody else, right? Like he hasn't had a firing angle on us in a while. And then this Montana is just giving it up here, so we'll take advantage of that as well. But I was like, oh, maybe we can do rear turret on Ohio, and then yeah, so I use sort of the periscope view, right? Like zoom in on him and then go, aim up to see like if when we were able to see his guns looking this way, so that prompted me to turn in a little bit more. So then, yeah, then we probably would have died if we didn't realize that that's what was happening, that he actually was aiming at us. But yeah, somebody else finishes him off. We lose a turret and have a damaged turret, but we do get another citadel on the Montana. That puts us up to 6 citadels. We get that rear turret around. We'll see if we can sneak the kill. Nope. That is why I always aim high, because three of 3 shells, aimed them where they're supposed to go, and they landed short. But yeah, I always get criticized when I aim too high. People tell me I'm aiming too high, and that is why, because I see that happen. We'll take a look at the leaderboard here for this one as well. So that gets us, yeah, almost 170,000 damage in the Stalingrad with 3 kills, 2 assists, plenty of Citadel hits, yep, and that puts us over the 3,000 mark, the 3,200 there. And we walk away with some cash in our pocket also. I'll go through the build here as well, but you can see I'm using Nicolay. Not going to try his last name. But yeah, aiming system mod here again as well, propulsion mod. You guys get the pattern with how I like to play the game, right? Dispersion and range here. You could go reload for this one as well and lose some traverse speed. That wouldn't be too big of a deal. And then yeah, this guy here for inspirations, I've got a little bit better dispersion and reload from this person. That is one of the paid blue archive commanders, right? And then AP multiplier from the other guy, he's a freebie. Main battery range, HE shells causing fire here. Punch through for this one for more AP damage. And shell grouping accuracy, right? So you could go refill station. I wouldn't blame you for that one, but you guys know I'm sort of addicted to fully packed to get that extra radar and extra heal. And that is going to be our video for the day, guys. Thank you for watching Alaska and Stalingrad. Thanks for sticking with me if you're still here, right? Make sure you are following the channel. I do Legends videos pretty much every day, so we'll see you guys tomorrow.